Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our live session from the Hoffman Process. I'm coming to you this morning from Sydney in Australia, for those of you who don't know. And it's pretty beautiful. We're just starting spring here and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I wanted to welcome you to a little bit of a talk about the retreat. So no matter where you are on the planet at the moment, I'm wishing you well. I know that this is a bit of a challenging time for us all, actually, and we've seen sometimes the best of ourselves and sometimes the average part of ourselves. But may we all move through this with grace and speed and find our ground. So a hearty welcome to those of you who are joining us. And it really is my pleasure to talk to you about the retreat today, which is the advanced process for Hoffman. And I know that many of you have done the process, and so we're hoping that you consider coming along, not to a Zoom retreat, but actually a live retreat in Byron Bay, which is coming up in October. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. A lot of people ask, what is the retreat? What do you do on the retreat? How is it different to Hoffman? Why would I come? All those kinds of questions. So let me spend a few minutes going through what the retreat is. And particularly if you've done some personal work, and if you've done the Hoffman process, you will know that at the process we spend a lot of time talking about the quadrinity, which is that internal structure inside us all, which is composed of the emotional self, the intellectual self, the body, and our spiritual self, or another word for that is our true self or our essential nature. Many words, but it is that beautiful part of ourselves that we would very much like to be in more often. And we also learn at the Hoffman process that a lot of the energy that's available to us to actually inhabit that true self or essential self is consumed by the emotional self and the intellectual self. And even in the intellectual self and the emotional self, there's an upside and a not so upside. And when we're not at our best, we can get caught in the low side of the emotional self and intellect. And we develop all kinds of patterns. And these patterns, as you would know, come from our environment, our conditioning, how we were brought up, things that happened to us. And they were perhaps once really important strategies to keep us safe and secure and to get love, but they have a use-by date, and many of us don't know how to put them in the use-by date basket. And we find we're still operating from them, and instead of responding to our world moment to moment, we're very much caught up in the reactivity, the low side of the emotional self and the intellect. And we also know that sometimes they can do good things when they get together, but they can collude against us. And we create all sorts of vicious cycles that we go into again and again over the course of our lives, particularly when we're stressed. And we do a lot of work on that in the process, and we look at where they came from, and we identify, a whole lot of them, and we look at the way they impact the rest of the quadrinity, the body, and how they block access to our more essential self. In the retreat, we take that a whole lot further. And what we do in the retreat is that we start to identify that there are 9 fundamental designs to the way in which our emotional self and our intellectual self collude to have us block that access to the best of who we are. And these 9 fundamental designs outed, if you like, in a brilliant system called the Enneagram. So we use the Enneagram to, discover what these 9 maladaptive, overused, and slightly redundant designs are. And a lot of people say to me, oh, but I don't want to be put in a box. And a very wise teacher of mine once responded to that question. I had that question also. And he said to me, we're not putting you in the box. We're helping you identify the box from which you want to get out of, so that you can be free to have the kind of life that is waiting for you. Free to relocate to your essential and spiritual nature. So we have a look at these 9 designs, and in some ways we are consolingly similar, and that's a blessing. We think we're uniquely flawed, but we're not, and that's probably a good thing. And in the company of fellow travelers, like-minded folk, we discover that there are other people there that have the same struggles that we do, almost exactly the same kind of struggles, because they're caught in the same box as we are. So we work long and hard at working through that so that we can, use the box when we need to, and absolutely relax the box when we don't. But we get to choose when that is, rather than these archaic structures. We do a whole lot more than that. We look at the way in which our environment impacts us, and the way in which, sometimes we narrow or limit our attention with regards to what we think will give us a good life. So we look at 3 main instincts as well. For some of us, we have a very strong self-preservation instinct. We're sort of quite fussy around our environment, whether we're warm enough, whether we've got the right amount of security, whether we're eating well, whether we're healthy. And sometimes we over-focus on those things, and we don't give enough energy to the other 2 instincts. Some of us might focus down on finding our tribe, making sure that we're in the right place with the right people, making sure that we're at the top of the hierarchy, who's included, who isn't. Sometimes we spend a lot of time wondering whether we belong, or whether we've been included, at the expense, again, of our self-preservation and the 3rd instinct, which is our one-to-one instinct. Some of us spend a lot of time looking for that one other, as though if I just find that one other, everything will be all right. And we want to have a healthy balance between all those 3, because we need them all. But we get very preoccupied with one, and we don't allow the other 2 to kind of enter our field. And so we also explore that in the retreat. And we're doing this retreat live, so we are very COVID conscious. There's a lot of safety, strategies that we put into place to make sure that we can have an experience live in the room with you in Byron Bay. We're taking reduced numbers to ensure that, and we have all sorts of health protocols in place. And we decided to do that because we really want to include a lot of our other work in the retreat as well, our constellation work, our dynamic meditation work, and we want you to be together. We've been separated so much during this time, and this really is an opportunity for us to come together in a safe, responsible way and explore whatever it is that stands in the way of us having a good life. And, so many people want to have a life that they feel they have to effort into. And so we have a whole lot of lists of, I'm going to be better at this and I'm not going to do that. And it's not about efforting. It's not about lists. It's not about goals even. It's really about understanding what's in the way and allowing your true nature to come forward and guide the life that's meant for you to have. So we're having this retreat in October. I think the dates are around the 17th through to 21. All the details are on the website. If this moves you, if you're ready to take a leap forward, if you want to reconnect with some of us and the principles and the energy that you experienced in the process, come on over. Come and join us. You'd be most welcome. And we really look forward to seeing your shiny faces again very soon. And I wish you well, be safe, and thanks for listening. Bye for now.